Hello, hello everyone. Welcome to Gift of Health Weekly Wellness Chat. Another Tuesday here. I'm Dr. Arjun Rayapudi. This is my lovely wife, Dr. Shobha Rayapudi. We are both lifestyle medicine doctors and founders of Gift of Health. We are here today to answer any health and lifestyle related questions you have, diet related questions you have. We love to break through the confusion about the food and help you to break free from lifestyle diseases, drugs, and transform your health.
So, as lifestyle medicine doctors, we actually help people struggling with high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, heart disease, or any other chronic condition to actually break free from diseases and drugs and transform their health through better diet and lifestyle. So, if you have any questions related to these conditions or any lifestyle diseases, we are happy to answer here. So feel free to bring your questions and feel free to share this with your friends and family members who might have questions, and we are happy to answer them.
Yeah, let us know how the audio and video is and also let us know where you're joining from. Like, we have few people live watching us, so it would be nice to connect with you and let us know where you're joining from. And give a like, thumbs up and love, and share it. That's how Facebook knows we are here. And the more noise you make, the more it will know, it will reach to the people. So give your love and likes and thumbs up. Good. Excellent. I can see Deborah here. Hi, Hope. Hello. Excellent. Good. Chitra. Hi. Trudy. Hello. Hi, Vanessa. Hi, Mike. Welcome back. Okay. Glad it's the audio is good. Excellent. Hello. Where are you joining from, Hope? Mike, you are just around the corner. Yes. Chitra, you're from Wisconsin. Nice. Good. Excellent. Glad you are here. Let's keep the conversation going around the health. Keep them coming. So while you're populating your questions, so we have one question that's, I guess this is a leftover from last week. Linda is asking, let's see, last week, Dr. Shobha mentioned bone health. I read that high sodium is a factor in bone loss. Could you discuss this? Thanks. Yeah, bone health is a very, very important topic. And there is a lot of confusion around bone health, actually. One biggest confusion is that the connection between the dairy products and the bone health. I think we addressed that briefly last week, right? There are some things that improve the health of your bones, and there are some things that hurt the health of your bones. The things that promote the health of your bones are the exercise. Like, the more you exercise, the more you stress the bones, the stronger the bones get. The bones are just like the muscles. If you want your muscles to be stronger, what do? You do some kind of weight-bearing activities, some resistance training, weightlifting, and repetitive usage of these muscles makes them stronger. Similarly, bones, the more you subject them to stress and strain, the stronger you get. So one way to strengthen your bones is exercise, regular exercise. Other one is to focus on getting healthy, calcium from healthy sources. What do I mean by that? Calcium is widely abundant in many foods, but the best source of calcium is actually from the plants. When we say plants, it's mainly leafy greens, beans, and nuts and seeds. When you eat a variety of beans, greens, whole grains, nuts, and seeds, you will get plenty of calcium. That is the most healthiest form. Because
Mhm. And also, calcium is more bioavailable when you eat plant-based foods as opposed to animal-based foods. So by that, what we mean is the absorption of calcium is better when you're actually getting them from plant sources versus animal sources. Because we know we have been so much brainwashed that when you think of calcium, what do you think? I have to drink cow's milk. I have to have dairy to get calcium. That's what we have been brainwashed. But actually, calcium is better absorbed when you get it from plant-based sources. And coming to this salt one, so when you look at it, definitely you want to store calcium in the bones and have it in a way so that there is not much loss of calcium. So, what are the things that actually make us lose calcium versus what are the things that actually help us keep calcium? So, when you think of calcium, where is most of the calcium in our body stored? Any guesses you want to take? Like, where do you think calcium is stored in our body? So some of you might be thinking, okay, most of the calcium is stored in the bones. You got it right. So some of the calcium is stored in our bones and some is also stored in our blood. And our body is very intelligent. The calcium that is stored in the blood is tightly regulated. So because of this, whenever the calcium get low in the blood, what it tries to do is it tries to take it from the bones. So that's how like the blood always try to maintain a certain level of calcium in our body. So how can we make our bones strong? So if a lot of calcium is coming out of the bones, like we are losing. So one is salt intake. When there is increased salt intake, a lot of calcium is actually lost through the kidneys, through urine. So we lose a lot of calcium. So that's why it is said, even research has shown, like when you decrease the salt consumption even by 1 to 2 milligrams, you are actually storing more calcium.
So the recommendation is to keep your salt intake under like 1 to 2 grams. We would say close to 1 gram rather than 2 grams. Like if you just keep it under 1.5 grams per day, research shows that you don't have to worry too much about losing calcium from the bones. So it's and where is the most of the salt comes from? If you get you might think like from the salt that you add, the salt shakers or the salt that you add in cooking, but the fact is most calcium actually comes
Salt.
I'm sorry, most most salt actually comes from the packaged foods. So when you avoid the packaged foods and the processed foods, you naturally cut down on the salt intake.
Yeah.
So, but we want the food to be tasty, right? So when you're making vegetables or whole grains or beans, adding a little bit of salt for taste is fine. It's just that if you go towards the packaged goods and the processed foods, there is much more salt in those foods, which negatively hurts the calcium balance.
Yeah. It's always better for you to control the salt rather than somebody else controlling the salt. When you're buying the processed product, you don't have control like how much salt is present in the packaged foods. Like when we are adding salt to the foods, we are able to see that visually and we might be thinking, oh, maybe I'm eating too much salt. But you're not aware how much salt is actually like, it's almost like 4 or 5 times more salt that is present in packaged products, and unconsciously we take that and we don't realize like where is most of our salt intake is coming from.
So it's not just the packaged and processed goods, it's also the meats and the dairy products. Most of the meats, like including chicken, turkey, beef, pork, like when they are sold from the stores or the markets, the salt solution is actually in them injected into them somehow to preserve them, to increase their shelf life. So most meats that you buy have salt in them. And the dairy products like cheese is loaded with salt. The dairy products in general, they have, especially like if you're buying cheese and butter, sour cream, like these things are loaded with salt as well. So that hopefully summarizes it for you. Like the more salt you take, the more calcium you lose from the bones. And the way to avoid salt in your diet is stick with unprocessed or minimally processed whole plant foods, whole grains, beans, nuts and seeds, green leafy vegetables. Like the good thing is you avoid salt, and also you are taking a healthy source of calcium as well. Like it's a double-edged, it's a win-win situation when you go with the whole plant foods. Yes. Let's see. I see a question here from Chitra. Is this being live on YouTube at the same time? Right now, we're not doing a live on YouTube, Chitra, but this session, later, like once it is done, you can find it, the live Q&A sessions. After it is done, you can find it on YouTube. Like we typically share it after this session is done. So right now it's being live on Facebook. What type of exercise? Like, yes, we talked about exercise for bone health. So Chitra is asking what type of exercise? Well, the type of exercise that helps the bones to keep strong are the weight bearing exercises, like resistance training. Like when you're using even your body weight, you could use your body weight exercises, like doing some push-ups and pull-ups and squats and crunches, like using just your body weight, or using some dumbbells or barbells, like doing some weight training using dumbbells and barbells. That will work. And believe it or not, even just doing yoga, like there is research showing that doing yoga postures for 30 to 40 minutes a day consistently improves your bone health, prevents osteoporosis, and makes your bones stronger. So I guess the variety of exercise, with the variety of exercises that are available, you have choices. Like in our life, we include all these types of exercises. We do yoga, we do resistance training, we do cardio activities. Like, so a variety of exercises actually keeps it more interesting rather than just doing one thing. So your heart's desire, you choose what sits with you. So there is a question here. Hope is asking, for people with diabetes or pre-diabetes who want to have a plant-based diet, what is the number of carbs per day or the meal that you believe they should use as a guideline? Hope, it's one of the best things that anyone with diabetes and pre-diabetes can do is to go with a whole food, plant-based way of eating. The thing is, like when you eat a meat-based diet, or dairy foods, like the meat products like chicken, turkey, beef, pork, fish, and dairy products like cheese, butter, yogurts and milk, sour cream, these foods, and processed foods, these foods actually increase insulin resistance. They increase inflammation. So the best way out of it is to stick with the whole plant foods, because whole plant foods, the plant-based foods like legumes, beans, nuts and seeds, whole grains, these decrease the insulin resistance. That means your insulin, whatever the insulin that your body is making, it works well. So if you're asking, is there a number of carbs per day? We actually don't recommend a particular number of carbs per day, but what we recommend is to stick with the minimally processed or unprocessed beans, like legumes, like the best meals, plant-based meals, the best foods, plant-based foods that anyone with diabetes can eat are the beans, which are legumes, lentils, and vegetables. Vegetables, especially the non-starchy vegetables, like the green leafy vegetables, different colors of vegetables like peppers and tomatoes and eggplant and okra, or all types of greens.
Like I can see that this question is coming from the understanding that carbs cause diabetes. So here, one thing to keep in mind is more than thinking what is the amount of carbs that I can have per day, is to think the quality of carbs that I'm eating. Am I eating processed carbs or am I eating complex? So here, instead of looking the amount of carbs that I'm eating a day, the focus is to keep the carbs whole. When you look at carbohydrates, yes, they're present in vegetables, they're present in fruits, grains, beans. But when we are eating carbs from that sources, actually our insulin resistance is coming down. Our cells are actually getting better, and insulin acts better when we actually get carbs from those sources. So that's why if we can focus on beans, lentils, legumes, nuts and seeds, fruits, and vegetables, which are high in fiber, and that would actually help us decrease insulin resistance, and in cases it can actually reverse diabetes as well.
And we have seen that again and again. We have had several of Gift of Health students and family members who have went through our food as medicine course, the 6-week food as medicine course, adopted a plant-based eating, and have decreased their insulin resistance and reduced their dependency on medications for diabetes. So it's very, very, very powerful. Like, and these changes, like with your body, in terms of reversing type 2 diabetes, can happen even within just few days to few weeks. So it's very, very powerful. So just to finish what Shobha mentioned, like the type of carbohydrates that we want to eat are the whole plant foods, whereas the type of carbohydrates you want to avoid are the processed carbohydrates. So these are the flour-based foods, like the sugar and like
flours. So in
any kind of like
flour.
a flour, like you take the whole wheat or the white flour. It is important to avoid the flour-based foods, because when you eat the flour-based foods, even though they are plant-based, these flour-based foods like breads and pastas, like these are cookies and candies, and these increase your blood sugar much rapidly. So the key is to stick with the whole plant foods, like the minimally processed or the unprocessed whole plant foods. I mean, it doesn't mean that you can never have pasta. You can have pasta, like make sure it is like whole wheat pasta, and like when you have to have pasta, at least 50 to 60% of your plate should have vegetables.
Yeah. So we have a question from Mike.
Yeah, so Mike was asking, I have constipation, and is there anything that we can suggest to help with constipation?
And I hate drinking water.
Yes, he's saying like he doesn't like drinking water. Okay. Well, the thing is, Mike, and this is applicable to everyone. Like there is a very simple basic principle when it comes to our gut health. So our gut starts at the mouth, and when we eat the food, it goes through the mouth and then through the food pipe. It gets like churned up, broken down in the stomach, and then later it passes through the small bowel. Some digestion happens in the small bowel and then the large bowel, and then we store it in the rectum, and then we poop it out. So our gut has two ends. One is the mouth end, and the other one is the butt end. So what comes out depends upon what goes in. So if you're struggling with constipation, the first thing we want to look at is what is it you're putting into your gut. If you're struggling with diarrhea, first thing you want to look at is what is it you're putting into your gut. So if either you're having hard stools or loose stools, the first thing that you want to look at is what is that you are eating. So when it comes to constipation, the most common reason, I'm not saying this is the only reason, but the most common reason why people get constipation is not having enough fiber in the diet, and also eating too many animal-based foods and the processed foods. So let's look at this. So if you eat fiber-rich foods, so where is fiber present? Where do you think the fiber is? So can you guess which foods have the highest amount of fiber? Let me ask you this, do eggs have any fiber? No. Do chicken has any fiber? Does chicken have any fiber? Fish have any fiber? No. Meats, zero fiber. Dairy products like cheese, butter, milk, any fiber? Zero. Processed foods, any fiber? Very little, minimal. You see where this is going? So if you're eating cheese, if you're eating chicken, butter, eggs, and meats, you are eating a fiber deficient diet, fiber depleted foods. Whereas, as Vivian is saying, lentils are very high in fiber. Beans are high in fiber. Whole grains are high in fiber. Vegetables, fruits, nuts, and seeds, these are high in fiber. So if you eat a variety of fruits and vegetables, whole grains, and beans, nuts, and seeds, I mean, you don't have to eat them just like that. You can make soups and stews and sandwiches and oatmeal, pancakes, pasta, French toast, like whatever you like to make with these whole ingredients, you'll be getting a lot of fiber. So the key is to focus on fiber, and whether you like it or not, water is essential. Mike, water is essential. Water is the elixir of life. Your body is made up of water. 70% of our body is made up of water. That means more than 2/3 of this body, what we call this body, is actually water. So we are more fluid than solid. So it's very important that, if you don't like water, there are tips and tricks you can get around it. Like you can add some lemon, squeeze some lemon to make it more flavorful, or slice up some strawberries to give it strawberry flavor, or slice up some cucumber, or add some mint leaves. So there are things that you can do. I mean, other day we served water, like when we had guests, we had this water container, which could take up to 2 gallons. And then we sliced up some oranges, like just one orange, and then put it in that container of water. And when we drank from that, the water tasted like, it's so delicious, like orange flavored water. So there are things that you can do to make water more enjoyable, more palatable, and just wrap your head around it. Like there is anything that you don't like, especially when you see the benefits of it, we can learn to flip the script in our head if you keep focusing on what are the benefits. And with a period of time, you will start to somewhere the switch happens and you'll start to enjoy it actually.
And when it comes to water, beware. Don't go for this vitamin infused waters, because they have a lot of sugar. Not many of us realize and think that we are drinking flavored water or vitamin water. They have almost 7 to 8 teaspoons of sugar, which you do not want. So
and not just the sugar, like some of those vitamin waters are like those additives that people are adding to water to make it more tasty. They have chemicals in them, they have colors, they have preservatives, right? So there is another question from Mike, like omega 369 every day good question mark. Okay, so the best way to get omega 3s, we would say, is get a spoon of flaxseed and chia seed, like ground flaxseed, and chia seeds and hemp seeds. These are the best ways to get omega-3s. The key is to have a good balance between the omega-3s and omega-6. Like, so you want to have foods that have an optimal proportion of omega-3 fatty acids and less of omega-6. And the good sources are flax seeds, chia seeds, hemp seeds, and a few nuts. But the key is to focus on the seeds. We don't recommend taking any omega-3 supplements at all. Just get it directly from the food.
Yeah. So in line with that, Mike is asking, okay, I was wondering what is good to take for awful constipation?
No, that's what we answered. Right?
Yeah, and I have been taking blueberries, fruit. So thank you, such a stress reliever. Yeah.
Okay, so there is another question here, right?
Yeah, Chitra is asking, I have mild arthritis and knee issues. Is it okay to do any yoga pose?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, research shows that if you have arthritis, especially mild arthritis, doing regular yoga and stretching, it slows down arthritis.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do that, like regular yoga, asanas are the different postures, and also you complement that with the food changes, especially avoiding the oils, avoiding the dairy products, sticking with the whole food plant-based way of eating. We have seen people with arthritis just getting rid of it. Or, I mean, if not get rid of it, like significant improvement.
Mm-hmm.
So Tony was asking, would you touch upon the topic of histamine intolerance? So histamine intolerance is a rare condition. It's only happens in about 1 to 3% of the people, where you have excess histamine, either excess histamine production or the histamine that is there in the body is not being metabolized. So typically there is an enzyme in us which breaks down this histamine. Histamine is a chemical. It is present in many parts of the body, like it is present in our gut, it's present like in our blood, it's present in various tissues. So the problem with like histamine, like if there is excess histamine, then it can increase inflammation. It can cause various symptoms like headache and nausea, like stomach ulcers. Like excess histamine can increase the release of stomach acid, causing like ulcers. It can cause leaky gut. So, histamine has important functions. It helps to fight the inflammation if it is released in the optimal amount. But if there is too much of it, it can cause excess inflammation and cause a whole host of symptoms. So the thing is, histamine excess or histamine intolerance can happen if you are on certain medications. Like there is a whole list of medications, like you can look up actually like which medications can cause histamine intolerance. Some of the medications that people commonly take for high blood pressure can cause histamine intolerance. There are lots of medications, like the whole list of medications. That's you. First thing is you want to look and see, are you taking any medications that might be causing histamine intolerance? Other one is some foods can have a higher histamine, and they can cause intolerance. And again, histamine intolerance doesn't happen in everyone. If your doctor, after doing extensive workup, this is not something that gets diagnosed every day. Your family doctor has to do a thorough workup and may have to refer you to a gastroenterologist and may have to refer you to a specialist allergy and immunologist. And after all this workup is done and they can't find anything, then they look at these uncommon conditions called histamine intolerance. So let's say if you happen to be diagnosed with histamine intolerance, like then it is important to watch your foods as well, because For example, fermented foods have higher histamine in them. So it's better to avoid the fermented foods. Alcohol is very high in histamine. So I know if you're a beer drinker or wine drinker, it is not a good idea, especially if you have histamine intolerance. And there are some vegetables like tomatoes and eggplant and spinach can have a little bit of higher histamine. But most vegetables and most fruits, except for citrus fruits, like these are all fine. Like you have lots of choices of foods that you can eat from. Like if you look online, there are some websites that say, oh, fresh meats and fresh dairy products may have low histamine. But the problem with fresh meats and fresh dairy products may have low histamine, but they have a higher amount of endotoxins, like they have a higher amount of bacteria, they have a higher amount of animal protein, higher amount of heme iron, which increase inflammation in many ways. So it's better for you to go with the fruits and vegetables, whole grains and beans that naturally are low in histamine, again, except for some of the things that I already mentioned, like tomatoes or spinach or citrus fruits may have high histamine. So you can start from there. Hopefully that gives you a start, but it's a very rare condition and a difficult condition to treat. So anyone with histamine intolerance, you should be working with your family doctor and specialist closely. Good. Sean says he drinks 8 to 12 glasses daily. Good job, Sean. Excellent.
Many call having
a tea and coffee as having water. Yeah, well, you can try to get away with having tea and coffee as water, but not really. Like, water is water. If the mother nature wanted you to have water in the form of tea or coffee, we would have seen like more coffee and tea streams, right? But the thing is, the problem with coffee and tea is that they have their own issues, like especially coffee has caffeine, and there is a whole host of evidence pointing to taking, like, coffee is a gray area, like it's in the yellow zone. Like some papers talk about like how coffee can increase inflammation in the body, but there is some research talking about there is some research talking about how coffee may be beneficial in some way. But it's and people argue coffee is a bean liquid, right? So yes, it is a bean liquid, but it is a processed bean liquid, and it is a chemical. It's a neurostimulant as well. Like, it keeps you addicted. And some people have like withdrawal, like if they don't drink coffee, if they're used to drinking coffee and don't drink it for a day or two, you get headache and like irritability. So it keeps you addicted. And many people, when they drink coffee, they take like sugar and like cream, so that's another problem. So our take on coffee is like there is nothing so magical about it. Just limit the intake of coffee as much as you can. If you want to have coffee because you like the taste of it, you could try other coffee alternatives. Like there is Cafix and Cafree. Like there are other brands of coffee like alternatives, which are made with chicory root and beetroot, barley malt. Like, so this made it with healthier ingredients and has a similar flavor and taste like coffee. So that's one thing. Or if you really like the taste of coffee, just limit to a small cup, no sugar, no cream, just black, keep it black. When it comes to tea, again, go with peppermint tea or herbal tea or green tea rather than like black tea, because there is a higher amount of caffeine in that.
Okay. So Mike is asking, I see you exercise, Dr. Arjun, standing on your head. I guess I'm too crippled and old to do that. I just can't get rid of that little belly fat. I have no issues with booze, 18 years now gone. Okay. That's
so you want to get rid of the belly fat, Mike?
I know, like when it comes to exercise, we all think about all this complicated exercise. So the thing is, when we can have more movement, that is the key. Because I know when we think of exercise, a lot of things come to my mind. The key is, see, like if we can move more. move 50% more of what we are already moving. And that can be simple. It could be walking, jogging, running, and you can find the activity that you like. Or it could be just doing simple exercises, doing like planks, or just like body weight exercises. And from there, if you want to progress to higher form of exercise, you can certainly do so. You can also do some weight bearing exercises. So you just build up to it. Wherever you are, that's where you work on. So like we don't have to do anything complicated.
The thing is, you want to have a variety of exercises, like variety of routines. One is cardio. Cardio is where you get your heart rate up. So you need to get your heart rate up on a daily basis. So either go for a brisk walk, walk fast as you can for about 15-20 minutes, start with that and then increase. So, or if you can, like, from fast walk, you see if you could do little bit of jogging, like little bit, as your body allows, like build up to it. So go gradual. If you like swimming, get in the water, do some swim or cycling, like, or anything that will raise your heart rate up. So that's like the cardio. Then the other exercises that will help are the resistance training. Resistance training are doing just your body weight exercises like planks or push-ups or sit-ups or crunches or squats, or get some dumbbells, just 10 pounds or 15 pounds. Like the light dumbbells also give you good exercise. Like, so do a variety of dumbbell based exercises. So and make it fun. Put some music, or get a like a partner or a friend to keep you more accountable. There are ways to make it more fun, like, while you could do it while watching your TV or watching Netflix. So
So Mike is saying, I just won't go about the 2 pounds, the belly fat.
yeah,
So
that's stubborn fat. Like, it takes like dietary changes, like food changes, and the exercises. Not just about the exercise.
mhm.
What you eat also matters, and sometimes you just have to make more tweaks to get the last few pounds off. Okay, Connie's asking, is coconut water considered water? Well, Connie, good to see you here. Coconut water is coconut water. Yeah, it is healthy. Like, if you're using in small amounts, especially if you don't have any diabetes, it's coconut water is fine. Like, it's rich in potassium and minerals, and like it tastes good. Like, we grew up drinking coconut water. Like, when we grew up in India, coconuts were everywhere. But that's something that we really miss in Canada. We are going to be heading to India for a few weeks in the summer, and I can't wait to have some coconut water. Yeah. On this topic, I also want to bring this to you guys. Like, one of the best way to have water is to actually eat water. What do I mean by eating water? See, if you look at vegetables and fruits, there are many fruits and vegetables are 80%, 70 to 80%, some are 90% water. Research actually shows that if you take water from the fruits and vegetables, that you retain it twice the amount than just drinking water. So drinking water is good, but if you're eating water rich vegetables and fruits like cucumbers and melons and like grapes and berries and like oranges and honeydew melon, cantaloupe, like pomegranate, papaya, so which are very rich in water, your body retains more water. Okay. I think we covered it all so far.
Mhm.
You guys are asking a lot of exciting, interesting questions. So Hope says, can't wait to test hemoglobin A1C again. Good luck, Hope. So you have 2 or 3 more weeks. So just make every day count. Make every day count. Put in the work. Like, make sure your breakfast, lunch, and supper are plant-based, legume-based, like mainly heavy in legumes like beans and lentils, and
keep the grain intact.
Yes, and focus on a lot of vegetables, and exercise, like also do some exercise regularly, and you will see, once you put in the work, you make every day count, you put in the work, you will see the results. And just to add to that, if you don't see results, then there may be something that we need to tweak. So all these tests are good feedback for us to see what is working and what we need to adjust. So we wish you the best, and keep us posted. Good. Any more questions anyone have? I think we covered pretty much all for today. And if you don't have any other questions, we can wrap this up and call it a day. Hope says last time it wasn't enough lentils. Yeah.
Okay, Mike is asking, is sugar good for you?
What do you think, Mike? Is sugar good for us? Well, let's put it in the context. See, the naturally occurring sugar, which is present in fruits, is good for us, because when you eat fruits like berries and bananas and pineapple and pomegranate and oranges or apple, so when you eat fruits, there is some sugar in it. When you eat things like sweet potatoes and potatoes, there is some sugar in it. This is naturally occurring sugar that is packaged with fiber, with vitamins and minerals, and like protein that is coming from the plant. So the sugar from these fruits and vegetables, it comes as a package of with phytochemicals, antioxidants, and micronutrients. So these are beneficial. But if you take the table sugar or the liquid sweeteners, what do they contain? It's just plain sugar. Research shows that plain sugar is addicting. What happens when you eat a spoon of sugar? Do you feel like putting it down, or do you feel like having more?
More.
Yeah, right? So the more sugar you eat, the more you want. That's a cycle of addiction, right? Because sugar doesn't, like sugar as table sugar, does it happen in nature? Yeah, like it doesn't happen in nature, like just white sugar the sugar doesn't happen as white sugar or liquid sweeteners, right? That is something that humans have figured out to make, because we are going for the maximum pleasure, but the going for the continuous maximum pleasure is a trap. The more and more we run after pleasure without putting it in context, we keep ourselves stuck in that cycle. So the way out of it is education and awareness. Once you are aware the harmful effects of the sugar, and also not only that, like, I mean, at Gift of Health, we have figured out how to enjoy the sweet stuff. You can enjoy the sweet, sugary stuff made in a healthy ways, where like your intake of sugar is much lesser compared to the store-bought the stuff. Like, for example, like if you like someone who like brownies, if you just buy the chocolate brownies from the store, they have much more sugar. They may have oil, they may have dairy in them and made of white flour. But if you go to Gift of Health, we have a recipe for a black bean brownies, which are made with beans and oats. There is some maple syrup in it. There is applesauce, like made with healthier ingredients, and this is much less sugar compared to the store-bought sugar. So you could enjoy the sugary or the sweet stuff without sabotaging your health.
Okay. So Thomas is asking, what do you eat when you travel or in restaurants?
Okay, Thomas, like you're, yeah. So actually, we do a whole session, like we do a whole 90-minute session in our Gift of Health Food as Medicine course about how to eat when you are traveling, how to eat at restaurants, how to order food. in different restaurants. So, well, like we highly encourage each one of you like to look into the Gift of Health Food as Medicine course, where you get much more, not just about traveling, what to eat when you're traveling, but also how to reverse your chronic conditions like lifestyle diseases, um, with the whole food plant-based way of eating. To give you in a nutshell, Thomas, what to eat when you travel or at restaurants, the key is do your best. Do your best. Like, don't focus on perfection, but focus on trying to make the best choice that is available out there. One common mistake that many people make uh, when you are eating at restaurants or traveling is that you use these words. Oh, do you have any plant-based here, or do you have any vegan options here? So some places don't know what is vegan, and some places don't know what is plant-based. So how do you order food that is healthy for you without using these words? The key is just look at the menu. Just look at the menu and see what is that you can plantify. Your magic word is plantify. How can you plantify whatever is there on the menu? For example, like let's say I'm just going to take you a tour uh, of some of the restaurants in Buren, like in Marystown. In Buren, we have Lucky House. So that's a Chinese restaurant. Like let's say if you go to a Chinese restaurant, they have something called uh, what's that one with the black bean sauce?
Yeah, Szechuan,
The black bean sauce.
yeah, like spicy black
Yeah,
bean
they have a
with
dish. They have a dish with the spicy.
Hunan.
Yeah, they have a dish called Hunan beef on their menu. It actually is made with black bean sauce, and the sauce is delicious. It comes with like vegetables, and the on the menu it comes with like beef and vegetables. What we say is like, we would like to have one order of this Hunan uh, beef dish, but no beef, extra vegetables, lots of vegetables. And they put so many vegetables with this a nice spicy black bean sauce. It's delicious. And they don't have brown rice, but they have some steamed white rice. So we have some steamed white rice on the side, and have lots of vegetables and some rice with it. And then that makes a delicious dish. There is also Szechuan vegetables, like they have Szechuan chicken. Rather than having chicken in that Szechuan sauce is delicious, like it's spicy. It has nice tangy flavor to it. We say, skip the chicken, just make the dish like Szechuan vegetables, and maybe have like a side of steamed rice with it.
Yeah. So depending upon the restaurant you're visiting, let's say if you're going to a pizza place, so you could just order the pizza with vegetables and without cheese. A lot of people cannot conceive thinking about, oh, can I order pizza without cheese? It's actually very delicious, and you can actually taste the pizza better. So you're just ordering regular pizza with the pizza sauce and vegetables.
So
And
when see to order that, like if you look at the menu, they will have vegetable pizza with cheese. Typically, all you have to say is, "I want that vegetable pizza. Just don't put any cheese in it." The waiter or the waitress, they may give you a look, but it's okay. Just you'll really enjoy that pizza. Like you can ask them to put extra sauce on it, extra veggies, and sometimes when you don't put cheese, they may have to put that pizza in the oven for extra few minutes.
yeah. And let's say if you're ordering any pasta dishes, so you could just ask them if you can get the pasta with more veggies or with extra vegetables and no cheese in the pasta. So whether it is spaghetti or pastas. And if it is stir-fried dishes, you're just saying like without meat and just add vegetables. So on the menu, like whatever the dish is calling for, you can definitely plantify it, or you can definitely modify it and tell the waiter, this is what I'm looking for, or this is what, if this is what I can get. So there are a lot of options out there. So, and it doesn't matter whatever restaurants you're visiting, whether it is a Chinese, whether it is Thai, whether it is Indian, Mexican, no matter whatever restaurant you're going, you could just modify all the different dishes.
And do your best. Sometimes, you may eat plant-based, but you may be getting processed plant-based, and think of it as just one meal. And as soon as, you're back to your home setting, just do a little bit of short detox. Okay. Thomas is also asking, what are your thoughts on intermittent fasting? uh, it's one of the best thing you can do for yourself. Like, intermittent fasting has lots of benefits. There is plenty of research on fasting, and it's a time-tested tool. Like, fasting has been there, intermittent fasting has been there from times immemorial, like in all cultures, like in Indian culture, in Christian culture, like the Muslim culture, like all over the world, the ancient religions have practiced some form of intermittent fasting at some point or the other times of the year, and it's still practiced all over the world. Research, the scientists are only finding out the benefits of it, and publishing it, but the humanity has known the benefits of intermittent fasting for a long time. But you have to do it the right way. Like, how to do it is, so how you do that intermittent fasting is important. So if you're eating when you're doing intermittent fasting, you fast for a particular period, and then you eat during a certain period. So what you eat during that feasting period or eating period matters. So if you're eating chicken and cheese and pork and processed foods and meats during the time of eating, and then you fast, then you are actually having less benefits of fasting. Rather, if what you're eating, like the whole food plant-based way of eating, um, you're following that, and you're also not stuffing yourself. Like, so if you're sticking with whole food plant-based way of eating and not stuffing yourself and also not starving yourself, and you add intermittent fasting, you see more benefits rather than intermittent fasting along with the animal-based or the processed food diet. So you could get started, just for many people, even eating 3 times a day with no snacking, no nighttime snacking itself is good.
Intermittent fasting.
Yeah. And there is actually a research that came up recently where it talked about, let's say if your food intake for breakfast, lunch, and supper is moderate, and if you're not stuffing yourself, and you don't have any chronic health conditions, and you're not stuffing yourself. So basically, when you're not stuffing yourself and eating plant-based, doing intermittent fasting doesn't offer any additional benefit. The key is the amount of if you're stuffing yourself a lot, then intermittent fasting may help. But if you don't have excess weight to lose, and if you don't have a whole lot of health issues to deal with, and you're eating your breakfast, lunch, and supper with not much of snacking in between, you're not stuffing yourself, then just don't eat after 6 at night, and then have your breakfast at 7 or 8 in the morning. That gives you a fasting window of 14 to 15 hours, right? So that itself is intermittent fasting.
Okay, so we had a great time answering your questions. So we will meet you next week. So every Tuesday we do this live session. So feel free to bring your questions and we would be happy to answer them.
Yeah, if you're watching this replay, feel free to type the question that you have, and we will get to it in the upcoming week. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining, everyone. We will see you next week.
Yes, have a wonderful evening or rest of the day.
Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.